Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So I used the pattern to make this, and this is the fabric side, then this is the lining part. It can be worn anyhow. It can be worn from the fabric side or from the lining part. So to start drafting your patterns, I've already drafted my front pattern, and I put down my shoulder line, my chest line, bust line, my waistline, and my zip allowance of 1 inch. So the next I'm going to do is to take my shoulder measurement on my shoulder line. I'll take my shoulder measurement of 8 inches and I'll bring it down to my chest line, and I'm going to connect it with a long row. So after doing this, I'm going to take 1 inch from my shoulder slant, and I'm going to take my 3.5 inches as my neck width. Then I'll come down with 10.5 as my neck depth, and I'm going to connect it with a long row, okay, to the zipper line. Now I'm going to connect my shoulder slope. Now after connecting my shoulder slope, I will check what I have under my armhole line, and I'll divide by 2. Then from there I will go in by 0.75. Then from there on the chest line, I'm going to put down my round balls divided by 4. I'll bring it down. Then I'll use my curve rule to connect all the points together. So after this, I'm going to go to the waistline, and I'm going to put down my round waist divided by 4 plus 1 inch for my darts, and I'm going to connect it to the armhole line, that's the chest line. Now with this, I'm going to put down my bust apart divided by 2 to get my darts. I'll put down my bust apart divided by 2, and I'll connect to my bust line. That will be my nipple point. And I'm going to open my darts by 0.05 on both sides of my dart legs, and I'm going to connect it to my nipple point. Now after this, I'm going to put down my bust darts of 2 inches, which is the difference between my front and my back waist. My front and my back half length, I'll put down 2 inches. So from there, I'll come down by another 2 inches. Okay, I'll come down by 2 inches and I'll connect the lines. Now I'm going to bring down my waistline using a slant line to connect it. And on this point now, I'm going to come down by 3 inches, and I still took 3 inches inside, like inward from my center front. I took 3 inches and I marked it down by 3 inches here to connect it to my waistline, and from there I'll connect it to the center front. So from there I'll bring down the dart legs. So after I was done bringing out my dart legs, this is where my button is going to stitch. This is the number of buttons I'm going to have, 4 buttons. So the next I'm going to do is to do my princess dart. Okay, so from there I'm going to go up by 4 inches. Okay, from my armhole I'll go up by 4 inches and connect with my curve rule to meet my nipple point. So from there I'm going to open it up by 1 inch, okay, and connect it back to 1 inch before my nipple point, and I'm going to extend from my armhole, extend it by 1 inch. I'm just shading out my dart. I will extend it by 1 inch from my armhole. Now this, I'm going to get a new armhole, because if you don't do this, your armhole is going to shorten. So I'm withdrawing my armhole So for my neck, I'm going to do my neck tightening. I'll just check what I have for my neck and divide by 2. Then I'm going to connect it to my armhole, that my armhole point, and I'm opening it up by 0.5. So this is how to get your neck tightening. So we are going to be cutting out all these shaded parts. Now I'm going to cut out my neck and open and close my neck and close my neck tightening. I'll just use my tape to close that. And after closing my neck, I'm just going to check and put another paper under to make sure my neckline is straight, because I see it has shifted. So I'm going to tape it down and I'm going to redraw. And I'll cut. So after doing this, I'm going to cut out my bust that I'm going to cut it open and close it. Okay, I'm going to cut it using my tape also, and I'll tape it down. Now after doing this, I'm going to use my straight rule to connect back my waist. Okay, connect my armhole to my half length, and then with this I'm going to cut. So as you can see, my princess dart at my nipple point is looking very, very smooth. It does not have too much curve. Okay, those are the things you should look at for whenever you're doing a princess dart. It shouldn't have too much curve. It is going to be pointy at the nipple side after you finish joining. And here is my front pattern. This is my center front. You can label it my center front and my side front. I will keep that aside. Then we'll move to the back. So for the back, I've gone ahead to rule out my shoulder line, chest line, and my waistline. So at my waistline, I'm just going to take 0.5 as my back tightening. Okay, and connect back to the neck. Now there I'm going to, at the waistline, I'm going to take 2 inches and connect. The same 2 inches we took for the hem for the front. So from there, I'm going to come down by 1 inch as my neck depth and 3.5 as my neck width. Then I'll connect using my curve. So I'm going to take my shoulder divided by 2 and I'll bring it down to the chest line too. Then I'll come down from my shoulder slope by 1 inch. Then I'll bring down my shoulder line to my chest line and I'll connect with a straight rule. Then I'm going to put down my round bust divided by 4 on my chest line. Then I'll check what I have for my armhole line and divide by 2. On that point, I'm going to go in by 0.5. And I'm going to connect the 3 points together. So from the waist side, I'm going to take my round waist divided by 4 plus 1 inch for my darts, and I'm going to connect with a slant line to that 2 extra inches we added. Then I'm going to take my bust apart divided by 2, and on the chest I'm going to come down by 1 inch, and I'm going to connect my dart legs using 0.5. Then I'm going to connect it down to that 2 inches we added. So this is all for our back pattern. I'm going to cut it out. So after cutting this out, next I'm going to do is to transfer to my fabric. So here I'm just going to cross-check the length if it's matching. So I'm going to place the armhole together. Because of the bust that we did, we closed our bust out with 2 inches. The front has shifted, that's the side. So what I'm going to do is to add another paper. Okay, I want to make sure that the armhole will match. So I'm going to add another paper to the hem, and I'm going to take 2 inches extra. So from there, I'm going to cross-check what I have for my length, minusing my chest, my shoulder to my chest line. Then I'm going to add the difference. So I'm going to bring back my back pattern to check if it's correct. Then I'm going to connect it to the line that I marked. I'm just bringing down my center front so I won't be confused. So from there, I'll mark down where I'm supposed to connect to the hem. I'll connect with my straight through, and then I'll cut. So here I'll just cross check what I have again to make sure that they are equal at the hem, else it's going to affect the fabric by the time we finish cutting. So I'm just going to cross check and cut out the excess. Here I've transferred to my fabric. This is my back, okay, and I added 1/2 inch all around, but at the side I added 1 inch. But the center back is 1/2 inch, the neck is 1/2 inch, the length of my top is 1/2 inch. Then I notched that point, and I will measure what I have for my dart. I did the same thing for the front. I added 1/2 inch all around. Then for the side I added 1 inch. So I'm just going to check the length of my dart. Now I added stay to my lining part, and for the back just for the neck, and for the front I added to the sides. But for the center front I did not add an stay because it's doll face I'm using, so it's thicker than the lining part. So with this I'm going to join. I'm going to hold my center back together with my pin. I'll do the same thing for the lining, and then I'll go to my machine and sew. I'm going to sew on 1/2 inch. For the front, I'm going to open up my center front. Okay, I will be leaving my center front open. Then I'll take the sides and I'll join the darts. That's my princess dart. I'm going to join using 1/2 inch. I'll just pin it down to make sure they are straight, and always start sewing from the hem all the way to the top. So whatever I do to the main fabric, I'm going to do the same thing to the lining. So for the back, I've joined my center back and my darts. I did the same thing for the front. Okay, then I'm going to join the shoulders together with 1/2 inch. So I'm going to place it together for the lining, and I'm going to join with 1/2 inch. I'll just pin it down, and I'll go to my machine and sew just the neckline. Okay, I'll do the same thing for my main fabric. I'll put it together and join the neck, and join the shoulders together. So I've joined the shoulders together, and this is what it looks like. Now I'm going to place the lining on my main fabric, and I'm going to pin down, okay, making sure that the lines I just sewed, like the center back, they are matching. I'm going to make sure that the shoulder lines are also matching. Then I'm going to, as you can see, I've already ironed, okay, and I'm going to use my hemming gum to hem this all round. I'm going to sew on my hemming gum as I'm sewing, so it will help it relax well while I iron. Okay, now you are going to open up your shoulder lines and make sure they are matching with the main fabric and pin down. So I'm going to pin this all round to my hem. I'll do the same thing for my armhole. I'm going to also join my armhole together, and I'm going to pin down, and I will sew using my hemming gum for my neckline and my armhole. So I've joined my armhole and my neckline, and this is what we have right here. And I also ironed. See, it's looking very straight. I also ironed. So we are almost ready. So my waistcoat is almost ready. So the next I'm going to do is the hem for the front. Okay, this is how the inside looks like. Very clean. All my joining, they are all hidden inside. So for the hemline for the front, you just place it together this way and you pin down. Make sure you're getting your curve as you're placing together, and your dart lines or your seam lines should be matching. Okay, I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. Open up and turn to the wrong side, then you're going to be sewing. Join your seam lines and sew. So after I was done, this is what it looks like. I went ahead to iron too, and I used hemming gum for this part also. So now the next we are going to do is to join the sides together. Now to join your sides, okay, this is what you have to do. You're going to be opening up, and you're going to be separating the lining and the main fabric, and you're going to join from the armhole the lining to lining and fabric to fabric, like what I'm doing here. I'm going to pin the armhole down. That joining I have at the armhole, I'm going to place it together and pin down so it will not shift. So I'm going to sew the lining to lining and fabric to fabric. So at this hem side, you're going to open up like 2 inches. Okay, I'm going to open up like 2 inches because we've already hemmed that part and joined to the lining to the back. I'll do the same thing for the main fabric, and I'll go to my machine to join them together. Here I've been able to join together, and this is what it looks like from the outside. Okay, this is my sides. See, the lines are not showing, so we've been able to hide everything inside. Now we have to hem the lower part. We have to hem it. So to do this, you're going to be turning out, okay, turning in everything. Like you turn out to the wrong side, turn your dress, turn your coat to the wrong side, and I'm going to place it together with the lining, and I'm going to start sewing from that 2 inches point that we opened. Okay, I'm going to start stitching from there, and I'm going to close everything. Now I'm going to make sure that the stitch lines are in place, like they are together. From the dart lines, okay, I'm going to make sure they are together. I'm going to hold them down with my pins, and the same line, the center back, I'm going to make sure that they are matching too, and I'm going to sew on 1/2 inch. Now the sides, I use 0.5 to close my sides, because I remember I added 1 inch to the side, so I want to have extra ease, okay, to my coat. So I'm going to go and stitch the hem. So after I was just stitching the hem, this is what we have, and I opened up like 2 inches, okay, at the lining, that's the center back. Open up like 2 inches to turn out your coat or your dress, whatever you're making with it, to turn it out. Then after I turn it out, I'm going to give it a good press, okay. Then I'm going to do an invisible stitch to close that part that I opened, using my thread and my needle. I have a tutorial on how to do an invisible stitch on this channel, okay. So this is the 2 inches point I opened, and this is what we have after I was done closing all my seam lines. So I've gone ahead to iron, okay. I've ironed my coat. Now I'm going to be using this size 8 pin, sewing pin, okay, hand needle. I'm going to use this size 8 hand needle to stitch that part, so it will be invisible. No one will know that there was opening there. So my buttonhole is going to come to the right side. Just take your buttonhole, maybe 3 inches different, but I'll be having 4 buttons for this. And this is it, guys. And after it was done, this is what it looks like, and this is the final outcome on my dummy, okay. This was before I fixed my buttons, and this is the inside of my dress. Please subscribe if this was helpful. Thank you.